Reminder, present to Tech Buying Committee tomorrow.
This looks interesting.
Your data center should be driving better business outcomes.
Exactly.
Find the right people, the right way. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're calling in from. Welcome to the LinkedIn Marketing Labs on Reporting and Analytics. I don't know why I said analytics that way, excuse my sibilance. My name is Gaurav Nihalani. I will be your host and moderator today. We are joined by three lovely LinkedIn ads experts. And we are excited to show you all about reporting and analytics today. The tool we will be using is called Slido. And on the right side is where you can ask us questions, which we will try to answer throughout the show. We will also be asking you guys some poll questions, so please respond there. On the left is where you'll see the agenda, and you can follow along. Quick housekeeping items is we want to make sure that there's a break halfway through, so you'll have about 5 minutes to go get coffee, water, do whatever you need. We will be recording this entire show and sending you an email with the recording after. We will also have a survey at the end. Your feedback is our gift, so please participate in that. And please participate in the polls that we have along the way. Without further ado, I'd like to let our presenters introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Sal Castro, and I'm a Senior Client Solutions Manager at LinkedIn. I've been here for about 8 years.
And I'm Jessica Castle. I'm a manager on our technical solutions team.
Hi, I'm Maria Miralgo. I'm an Enterprise Client Solutions Manager in our Business Services vertical.
Now that you know about us, we'd love to learn a little bit about you. So we have a poll for you guys. Where are you calling in from? All right. Well,
Nice.
got San Francisco on there as expected.
Always good attendance.
A lot of San Francisco.
Nice.
Some of these are really small. I can't read them.
Toronto,
Toronto.
Houston.
Good eyes.
All right. Looks like we got a pretty big Bay Area crowd, so welcome to the show. Glad it's a reasonable hour. Hopefully no one's dialing in from Asia or Australia, because that is very late to be dialing in. But thank you all for joining us today. We'd like to share the agenda, so take a quick look at that. This is everything we'll be discussing today. But yeah, without further ado, I'd like to pass it over to Maria, who's going to take you through the foundations of measurement and reporting.
Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to walk you through this deck. We're going to go over measuring and reporting overview. We have a ton of valuable content. So definitely, as mentioned, as a follow-up, we'll send this deck with you after this presentation. So let's kick it off with the marketing reporting glossary. To level set and make sure we're all on the same page, we've compiled a list of common marketing reporting terms. For the sake of time, I won't go over each one, but we'll kick it off with the key performance indicator. So it's a measurable value that demonstrates how effectively you're achieving marketing objectives. Click-through rate, the amount of clicks in your campaign divided by the number of impressions. Cost per lead, the amount of money you spend to acquire a lead. Return on ad spend, revenue generated for every dollar spent on advertising. You can calculate this by revenue divided by the cost. It's also referred to as return on investment, or ROI. Next, we have a few more terms. Lead score, which is a method used to evaluate the quality of leads. Marketing qualified lead, a lead that meets marketing's benchmark for being considered a strong prospect, usually qualified through analytics or a lead scoring system. Sales qualified lead, a lead that sales has vetted and qualified as a prospective customer. So there's a ton of terms here, but I highly recommend taking a screenshot, saving it on your desktop, and referring back to it when needed. Now let's take a look at the marketing funnel and the ideal workflow for acquiring a new customer. First, the potential lead will come from LinkedIn. Then marketing will qualify the lead and share it with the sales team. Your sales team will then vet the lead, qualify it, create the opportunity, hopefully get the contract signed, and acquire the customer. Your goals will also determine where your content and strategy will fall in the marketing funnel. For example, if you're trying to build awareness, you'll want to promote top of the funnel content, ideally ungated content such as thought leadership or information about your company to keep your audience up to date about what's going on with your company and brand. Second, if you're looking to drive consideration focused campaigns, you'll want to promote middle of the funnel content. Usually this is gated content such as case studies or webinars, so you can collect information about your potential lead and also keep them up to date about your products, services, or what you'd like them to consider. And then lastly, with conversions, this is the most important phase, especially if you're looking to drive a potential lead into becoming a customer. What you'll want to do is have a good, solid follow-up process. We usually find that a potential lead will share their information, but then 30 days later, they tend to forget when, where, or how they've submitted their information. So you'll want to continually nurture them to ensure that you're talking to your audience and keeping them in the loop. You'll also want to align your ad formats based on your objectives. So recently, LinkedIn introduced objective-based advertising, and this is a way for you to streamline your campaigns based on your objectives. If you're already familiar with our products, you'll also want to ensure that not every product is going to support the same objective. For example, if we take a look at awareness, you can select either a single image ad or a text ad. If you're looking to drive website visits, you can choose a carousel ad or dynamic ad. For video views, only video ad format is supported. And moving on to conversions, if you're looking to drive website conversions, you can select all ads and so on. Again, this is a really good cheat sheet to refer back to when setting up your campaigns. Now we'll take a look at how you can measure the success of your campaigns based on your objectives. For example, if you're looking to grow brand awareness, some commonly used metrics are reach, impressions, or video views. At LinkedIn, we like to promote our B2B marketing trends. And the one thing we like to look at is impressions, so that way we can understand if we're reaching our audience. So this is a good way for you to see if your audience is interested in your content and what else you can do. Additional recommended metrics that you can also measure is share of voice or brand lift.
Hey, Maria, just want to cut in real quick. We have a question from DJ here, and I think he's talking a little bit about some of these different things that you measure, and he's saying, if you're not a direct D2C company, how would you recommend measuring ROI? Can you elaborate a little bit further using what you just talked about?
If you're not a
direct-to-consumer company, how would you recommend measuring ROI?
To measure ROI, I think one thing, what's the goal of the campaign, for example?
Yeah, so I mean, I think you're talking about some of these KPIs like share of voice and brand awareness and things like that. Is there a way that you would recommend to somebody in that space to use some of these metrics as their KPIs?
Yeah, definitely. So one thing I would definitely want to measure is the month-over-month volume and how they're driving to the website.
Okay.
And also another thing that you'd want to measure is the click-through rate. So are they looking at the ad and actually taking action?
Okay, yeah, well, thank you. That's definitely great advice. Hopefully that answers your question, DJ.
Yeah. And for other marketing objectives under awareness, if you're trying to improve brand sentiment, one of the things you'll want to measure is social engagements. So that also helps when trying to measure the success of, for example, direct-to-consumer, the question that we just received. You'll want to look at likes, comments, and shares because this gives you a good idea if people are responding positively to a post or maybe a recent video that you've posted, and it'll help you optimize towards the top performing content that you're promoting. So with owning thought leadership and brand consideration, you'll want to look at the number of posts and the number of followers. This helps you to understand, are you growing enough people within your company page, and are people actually reading your posts, etc. For consideration, some common marketing objectives to measure here is driving website visits. So you can look at the number of website visits or conversions on the site. To increase audience action and engagement, you'll want to take a look at clicks, CTRs, or if you're running message ads, you can look at the number of opens to get an idea if people are interested in what you're offering. Additional metrics that you'll also want to measure is the follower segmentation. So one thing you want to take a look at is the demographic of the people that are actually engaging with your post, because this will then help you figure out, are you targeting specific ad headlines or images to these folks, and is it resonating with them? Lastly, with conversions, you can measure the amount of leads that you're generating. So you can measure that by the conversion rate or the number of people that are actually submitting a form, etc. And then another thing is converting or retaining customers. You want to take a look at the cost per lead or the cost per conversion to see that if it meets your ROI. Finally, the true measurement nirvana happens when you can track your marketing campaigns from the top of the funnel all the way to the bottom of the funnel. The ideal state is tracking your conversions, and then marketing will qualify the lead, share it with the sales team to vet and qualify. The opportunity is then created. You'll have a close one opportunity, hopefully, acquire the new customers, and grow revenue for your business. So we have a poll question. What metrics can you use to prove success of a single image ad promoting an ebook?
All right, while you guys are chiming in, we also have a question from Lauren, and she is asking, are there geographic limits to my campaigns? I'm in the northern United States, and I want to reach a couple markets in Canada. No, they are not. You can use the tool to target folks all over the world, and you will advertise to them when they are logged into LinkedIn, regardless of where they're at, as long as they fall within your geographic targeting. So no, there are no limits there.
Yep. The only limit is that it needs to be above 300 members.
That's right.
So anything like that. So if you're going really niche with that geographic targeting, then it might not. But beyond that, yep, exactly like what I
Thank
said.
you, Jessica. That's why we have the experts here. Hopefully that answers your question, Lauren. Please keep the questions coming. All right, let's see how we're doing with this poll here.
These are different ways to definitely measure the success of campaigns. It also depends on what your overall goal is. So I do see number of downloads, website visits, purchases.
Awesome. All good
Awesome.
stuff. We'd like to open it up now to Q&A for everybody. So let's look at some of the questions we have on the stream. This one comes to us from Jake. Would you ever recommend text ads for driving website conversions, or strictly as an upper funnel strategy?
I'll take it. Yeah, so I actually love text ads. Text ads are a direct to website placement on LinkedIn, and you'd be able to use that type of conversion anytime, but it only shows to people that are getting to the website. So what that means is you're not going to get anyone on mobile. That means that you're removing about, 70% of the audience that you could be getting traffic from. I would actually start with sponsored content, and then also, once you get that foundation set up, go to text ads as well, and then target the same audience with both text ads and sponsored content.
Yeah, I think text ads a good layering tool to really use in addition to a lot of other ads, and really good for driving those conversions down the funnel.
And it's also less than 90 characters, so it's very succinct and is straightforward.
Awesome. Well, hopefully, Jake, that answers your question. We have one more question we'll take from the stream here. If I'm just getting started with reporting, how should I be looking at my ad campaigns? Any tips, guys?
I'm going to do a little bit of a deeper dive on that, but really your primary start is going to be impressions, clicks. Click-through rate is really your base level. And then we'll expand upon that a little bit, but actually, I will expand upon it, it's my section, but we'll dive a little bit into conversion tracking. So really looking at where people are getting on your website, where they're really driving to. And we also have demographics along with your campaigns, so you can really see who is coming to your campaigns and your website, who's getting there, so that can help expand your campaigns later.
And also a good way is looking at the objectives. For example, if you're looking to drive more volume to your site or just more eyeballs on your content, it usually depends on what the overall goal is.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Please keep the questions coming. We'll have more time for Q&A. We'll be moving on now to Jessica, showing us a deep dive on reporting.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jess.
All right, thanks guys. So we're going to take a little bit of deep dive into reporting and campaign manager. So as Maria went over, kind of overview of how to get those campaigns set up. But now what happens once those campaigns have started? What can you take a look at? So we'll do a walkthrough of campaign manager, but basically it's going to show you all of your metrics. All of those impressions, clicks, click-through rates, etc., will all live in the reporting UI of the tool. And really, we've kind of built the tool to allow you to work faster, analyze quicker, and so that it's personalized to you. So you'll see that it's a tabbed layout so that you can really quickly move through all of your campaigns. And there's lots of search and filter features. And then we also have built-in column views so that you can really narrow down on the specifics that you're looking at. So with that, we will dive into the actual reporting UI. No, we won't. Now we will dig into it. So taking a look here, this is our main reporting UI. And I have already selected one account, but you'll see that we have tabs up top here. The first one will be your account. So if you are on more than one account, you have access to a few others, you will see that in your accounts tab, and from there you can search and dive into those specific accounts. Some of you may notice on your UIs they look a little bit different, and you see a fourth tab called Campaign Groups. Campaign Groups is out for our self-serve advertisers, and it really allows you to bucket your campaigns. So you can put them so that they deliver to a certain budget by a certain end date and kind of categorize them and group them together. We are working on releasing that feature to our larger enterprise clients, but for now it's just available to the self-serve. We are in an enterprise account here, so you're not going to see that tab, but it will probably exist for a lot of you that are dialing in. So now that we're on our campaigns tab, this is listing literally all of your campaigns that you have set up. As you can see, this account's pretty large. We have 4,000 campaigns, which is a little bit overwhelming. So what we have here is a search bar to allow you to type in and narrow down. So I can type in test and take a look at any of those test campaigns that I may have collected. The other thing that you can do is you can filter all of your campaigns. So we allow you to filter by status, by type, and by objective, which is a new one that we have rolled out with our new objective-based buying, which means that for each objective that you've set up for your campaigns, you can select and just see which campaigns were set up as brand awareness, for example, here. The other thing that you're able to do is have different column views. So right now we are on the engagement column, which is showing you basically how people are interacting with your ads. So if we take a look here, we have reactions, comments, and a couple new columns I want to call out, which are clicks to landing page and clicks to LinkedIn page. So your clicks to landing page are going to show you who has clicked on the link, especially in your sponsored content, that drives directly to that landing page. And your clicks to LinkedIn page are going to show you who's gone to your company page, school page, things of that nature. The other column views we have, you have your main performance view, which is going to be the default view that you go into. And this is going to show you your impressions, clicks, key results. So depending on your objective, your key results will show here. So if you have a website visit objective, it's going to show you clicks to your website. If you have a conversion objective, it will show you your conversions. Then a few other views as well, conversions and leads, to get a breakdown of those. If you're running sponsored messaging, you will be able to see all of your message ads through the sponsored email dropdown, video, and then budget and bids to really get a quick overview of all of the bids that you're running, what your budgets are in your campaigns, everything like that. Another thing you may notice is that when you have selected one of your campaigns, we actually adjust our ads tab to show you just those ads in the campaigns that you have selected, which is really nice. Right now I've only selected one, but if I click back to the campaigns tab and let it load, this one has 4,000 campaigns, so it might take a little second for that loading. But if we select, let's say 3 here, we can notice that now there are 3 ads showing on the ads tab. If we remove any of our selections, it should show us all of our ads over on the ads tab, which is also a great way to really see what you're running, how everything's going, and also sort on this side too if you're just looking at specific ads and you want to see how specific pieces of creative are doing. My other fun favorite feature is being able to see all of these tools in a performance chart. So what you can do is select multiple campaigns. If you select 3 or fewer, you can actually see them broken out by campaign, which I will show you. And then you can click on this performance chart button. So here, since this is a test account, we're lacking a little bit in data, but you can see that you will be able to see your performance over time. So here I'm showing clicks, but I can also adjust it to see impressions, cost per click, CTR, etc., all on here. The other thing I can do if I want to see those 3 campaigns broken out separately, I can turn off the aggregation and I will see all 3, and you can hover over each and be able to see those metrics by day for each campaign. So it's really a great tool to be able to compare campaigns against each other and be able to see exactly what's happening on each campaign. We also have here that you can switch your time ranges. We have this time range available on all of our various levels of the UI. So you can select today, yesterday, last 7 days, etc. We have it on all time at the moment, but you can also click on the calendar and just select out those days as well.
Hey, Jess, we have a question
Yeah,
on the stream
of course.
to this. Connor is asking, do we expect LinkedIn to have a way to compare results from 2 separate timeframes in the near future? So perhaps some product feedback?
This is a huge product ask. It is, I say on the roadmap, but it is a little far down on the roadmap, to be quite frank on that one. But we know that basically being able to compare quarter over quarter, week over week is a huge ask. So it's really something that we're driving towards to allow in here so that you can get those full breakdowns. Any other ones coming through? We should grab while I have this open.
Definitely some other ones coming in.
We can wait till the next Q&A.
Yeah, so we have one
All right.
from Jenna about reporting. When are you going to have custom reporting views so I can select the metrics I care about without clicking between multiple views?
That's perfect. That actually was one of the things I was going to call out. So
Great question,
job.
Jenna.
Great question, Jenna. Thank
Great
you.
question.
Promise it was not planned.
So we actually, our engineers are fast at work at actually doing that right now. So the ability to have all of our metrics laid out there and you can select exactly which metrics you want to see in your own personal custom view. And then you would still have those default views that we see, but this way you would be able to pick and choose and know exactly what you want and combine those exact metrics all in one view. Since we know everyone sort of looks at reporting a little bit differently, so we want to enable you to have all of those tools for yourself. So from this performance graph, the other thing that you can select is you can switch your view and actually see the demographics of who your campaign is serving to. Like I said, this one we're not showing any demographics in because it's a test account, but you are able to see things like job function, job title, company, even location and country as well. The other new thing that we've added on this chart that some people may not be aware of yet is that we've added some column views here as well. So the 3 column views we've added are leads, sponsored in-mail or messaging, and video. All 3 of those are only enabled if you have selected those specific types of campaigns. So if I had selected 3 lead generation campaigns here, then this would no longer be grayed out and I would be able to select that and see the lead demographic data right in this report. All right, we'll X out of there. Just one last thing on here. Most of our tools within the reporting UI are done via hovering over all of your various pieces. So you can see here, if I click into this campaign, it will just allow me to select it and drive me over to the Ads tab. However, if I want to see how that campaign is set up, I can wait for it to load, and then I can hover over it and I can select Manage. I can also select Chart, or we have a duplicate function so that you can create a duplicate of that specific campaign. So Manage will drive you to editing any of those campaign features. We also have an export feature that allows you to export several different types of reporting as well. And next question that usually follows up, since I talked about customized columns, is if we'll be able to customize those exports as well, and that is also soon to come. All right, so moving out of our UI, I hope that gave everyone a good overview, and now you're sort of ready to get started with knowing how to navigate everything in Campaign Manager. Just a few other analytic features we wanted to call out. We have rolled out a integration with Google Campaign Manager, formerly known as DoubleClick, so you may think of it as DoubleClick as well, so that you can actually pull in your Google Campaign Manager tags into your ads in our Campaign Manager tool, and we will sync our reporting with their reporting and push it all over into Google Campaign Manager so that you can also analyze your ads through there. And then additionally, we also have a few partners like Hootsuite and Sprinkler, which allow you to build ads through their tools and integrate with them to get some additional reporting features as well. So if you are already using any of these tools, I hope that you also link in your Campaign Manager LinkedIn tools as well. And with that, we'll move on to additional Q&A.
Awesome. Thank you, Jessica. Yeah, we have a lot of questions coming in, so thank you guys. This first one's from Nicola, and she is asking, how does LinkedIn optimize ads for conversions under the website conversion objective? And what does LinkedIn take into account to determine who should be targeted?
Yeah, so if you are if you have chosen to optimize to conversions with that specific objective, basically what we do is we will look at within the auction sort of who that person is and how they typically interact with ads. And so if we know that they are really likely to convert on an ad, then we are going to use those bidding tools to optimize your bid so that we can make sure that you win that particular auction so that it is an increased likelihood that someone will convert. And basically, the more conversions you get, the more our system learns what type of person is likely to convert on your ads. So it just builds and gets smarter over time. So the longer you let it run, the better it will continue to perform.
Awesome, thank you. We have another question here. And I think this is a question a lot of people have. How long should I allow an ad to run before I make a call? I presume they mean make a call as in optimize, shut it off. Any recommendations from you guys?
Yeah, at least 3 to 4 weeks. It gives it time to gather significant data to make smarter optimizations. You'll want to take a look at any top performing audiences or creatives to ensure that you're actually optimizing towards the one that's driving the best results for you.
Awesome. Sal, any thoughts? I feel like you had something to say right there.
You got me. I think 3 to 4 weeks sometimes is too long. At least a week, but maybe 1 to 2 weeks if you can. The reason why is because sometimes you can't wait that long to make an adjustment. If you know that this one is absolutely not working either by CTR, number of impressions, number of clicks, number of conversions, definitely optimize that one out, maybe pause it and try something else, create a variation of the top performer and try again. We will be going through additional optimizations around this as well. Yeah.
We'll be going over the A/B testing, which is going to be crucial whenever testing campaigns for the first time or launching a new initiative.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. One more question from the stream here, and this is coming to us from Caitlin. I've heard multiple opinions when it comes to the optimal number of pieces of creative to have running per campaign. What is your recommended number?
I'll go. I think it's 3 to 4 for me. I've seen 4 to 5 in that range. At least do minimum of 3 is where I would say, and it depends on the types of ads that you're showing as well. within a campaign itself, you want to make sure at least 3 to 4.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for the questions. We'll definitely get to more of these as we go on, but we will be moving on to break time. So take a deep breath, go relax for a few minutes. We will be coming right back to you in about 5 minutes. Thank you guys.
LinkedIn lead gen forms are a great solution for marketers looking for qualified leads. Lead gen forms are customizable, pre-filled forms with a prospect's LinkedIn profile data that can be added to your sponsored content or sponsored in-mail ad. So, how can lead gen forms help you and your business? At a glance, lead gen forms help marketers collect high-quality leads at scale. They provide a simple way for companies to gather the data they need to qualify a lead in one click from a member on LinkedIn. They also make it easy to track the ROI of your LinkedIn campaigns with cost per lead, form fill rates, and conversion rate reporting. You can use lead gen forms to deliver content like white papers and ebooks, share an event sign-up, generate newsletter sign-ups, provide discounts, and more.
back, folks. Before we continue, we've had a lot of questions come in, and so we'd like to jump in and just handle some Q&A. This next question comes from Judith, and she is asking, can I see only companies or job titles, or can I also see who as in names of who clicked my ads?
Will not be able to see who as in names, but you could see who as in names if you did our lead gen form ads. So with a lead gen form ad, if someone engages with your ad and gives the okay to give you their name, then you would get all of that data as to who has engaged. But at LinkedIn, we have a members first policy. So our rule is that our members come first, so that member data, we don't drill down onto a individual level unless they've given explicit permission.
Thank you. Next question comes to us from CK. What's the best type of ad creative to drive brand awareness? Is there a point when leveraging too many, single image, video, carousel just becomes too much?
I would say no. I would try to use all different variations. Definitely use sponsored content, but in the different ways that you can. Carousel is great because it can tell a story. With video ads, it's very engaging because people can read it or listen to it. And yes, sponsored content is a foundation for all the different objectives.
Thanks, guys. This next one comes to us from Kelly, and she's asking, similar question to earlier, but her question is, what are the best practices for how long each type of ad should run? Is there a difference for sponsored in-mails or text ads? Any thoughts on that, guys?
Similar to what we shared earlier about either 1 to 2 or 3 to 4, depending on your sales cycle and how you're looking to measure your campaigns.
Yeah. One caveat is with sponsored in-mail, I'd run it a little bit longer. I'd try to keep it on and look at metrics at the 15-day mark and then also 30-day mark because it takes a little bit more time when you're using sponsored in-mail to see the actual effect of sponsored in-mail.
Yeah, with sponsored in-mail, if you're driving to a really large audience, it can sort of end up all delivering at once, but then your opens, clicks, all of that various engagement can sort of come along time, which is really why you need to check in later on, because you could have suddenly a large spike in opens, clicks, a lot of engagement there as well.
Awesome. All right, we'll go through one more question before we continue. And this person's asking, how can I get leadership brought into brand awareness objective ads? I presume they mean thought leadership, but any thoughts around thought leadership into your brand awareness ads?
Yeah, it's pretty much taking a credible leader within your industry or maybe an employee who's very knowledgeable about your product or your brand and having them talk about the value that you're proposing. So for example, employee shares are also considered a thought leader because they are pretty much your ambassadors and know what your product is all about. So that's one example. Another is also, for example, a CMO. If you guys have a product launching and they want to talk about the value of the product and how this is going to help other professionals and where your company is going, that would be considered a thought leadership piece as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. With that, we'll continue on with our regularly scheduled programming. And Jessica, please take us through. Went a little too far there.
That's okay.
Please take us through LinkedIn tools.
All right, so we are going to talk about one of my favorite tools in the platform, which is the LinkedIn Insight tag, and dig a little bit further into conversion tracking specifically. So our LinkedIn Insight tag. What is it? What am I talking about? LinkedIn Insight tag is a lightweight piece of JavaScript tag that you can put on your website that unleashes the power of conversion tracking, website demographics, and retargeting or website segments. And the way that we recommend using it is that it is one tag that you put on all of the pages of your site, and then you're ready to go and you can start immediately in tracking conversions, all of those segments, because the way that our tag works, and we'll dig into a little bit like this, is it works on URL matching. So once it's on all of those pages, that means it's ready to go, and as soon as you tell us what URLs, we'll start tracking that all for you. A little more of the technical side as to the insight tag typically comes up. It is what is called asynchronous. What that means is that our tag will load but will not impact your overall site load time. So it loads while the rest of the site continues to load, and you shouldn't really see any impact in overall slowness to your site once you install that tag. The other thing is that we are built into a lot of common container tags like Google Tag Manager, Telium, etc. And when we're built into those, that means that you don't need to go hassle your web developer to get that tag up. You can put it into your existing Google Tag Manager and have that all ready to flow and be ready to go. So what are the ways that you can use our insight tag? The first one, the broadest one, is to be able to see website demographics. So this is really who is coming to your website, not just how many people, but what are the type of people that are actually coming and engaging on your site. This is really good to figure out where you need to market to and who you should be targeting those ads to if you're seeing that you're getting people that are different than what your target audience should be. So then what goes beyond that is you can use those demographics and use those website segments that you built to start retargeting to those people. So you know that those people have already come to your website, they're already engaged, they already want to know more about your content, so you can send them ads to really go over the top and get them to go further down that funnel like we were talking about. Then, once they're further down in that funnel, you can use conversion tracking to see where they are going on your pages. So if someone has been retargeted and you've sent them an ad, then what are they doing? Where are they going? Are they actually downloading that white paper that you want them to? Are they going to your Contact Us page? What are they doing on those pieces? All right, so I've clearly sold everyone on the insight tag and how great it is, of course. So you're ready to get it all set up. So let's talk about conversion tracking and how to get that set up since we're talking about reporting and analytics. So why should you use our conversion tracking? What's the big deal? Our conversion tracking, we're not only going to count your post-click conversion, so someone that clicked on an ad and then was able to get to a piece on part of your website that you're wanting to track, but we also look at post-view conversions. So what that can really show you is someone that saw your ad and did later perform that conversion, but maybe didn't directly engage with the ad. The other thing is it allows you to really unlock stronger ROI, and we're really seeing a reduction in CPAs for anyone that has turned on conversion tracking, and we talked about this a little bit, but with our conversion optimization, it's really made a huge impact in our ability to target and get your ads in front of those right eyeballs.
Hey, Jessica, real quick, before you continue, we do have a question from the stream. This is coming from Maria on the insight tag itself, and she's asking, do you have to put it on each page manually, or can you put it in some place that will take into consideration all of the pages and track across all of those pages?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we typically recommend that it goes in what's called your global header or footer. So similar to a Word document that has the same header across all of your pages, oftentimes your website will have the same thing. So you can put our tag in there, and then it should go on all of your pages. The slight caveat there is that the page that you're looking for it to go on needs to include that global header or footer, so just making sure that that is truly on all of the pages is really the quickest way, so that you don't need to, like you said, manually put that on each time.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah. All right, and then the last reason here is to be able to see those deeper insights so that you can optimize your campaign. So we are looking at where people are going, how they're going further down the funnel, are they truly engaging, and are the click metrics that you're looking at truly impacting those conversions, or are you seeing sort of the opposite as well? Now, talking about setting up your conversions, getting everything ready to go. Your conversions are available under the Account Assets menu in Campaign Manager, and there will be an option in that menu that just says Conversions. From there, you can create your conversions. The first thing that you will do is select a conversion type, which is just sort of what is this conversion? Is it add to cart? Is it a key site visit? Anything like that. The next one is your conversion value. This is, what does that conversion mean to you in terms of dollars? So if someone converts, how much is that worth to your business? And what we're able to do, and we'll look at this a little bit later, is actually give you those metrics. So compare your total conversions against that conversion value and really show you the return that you're getting by those people converting. Then as well, we also have conversion windows that you can customize. So our conversion windows are available for both clicks and views, and they are available to customize to either 30 days, 7 days, or 1 day. The way that conversion windows work is you're essentially telling us how long after someone was exposed to an ad do you want us to capture a conversion. So for example, here we see that we have it set to 30 days for clicks and 7 days for views. What that means is that if someone has clicked on an ad, we will count a conversion for up to 30 days after that click happened. But if they only viewed the ad, we will count the conversion only up to 7 days. So if they viewed an ad and convert after 30 days, we would not count that as a conversion. We also have, I'm going to go back one slide here. We also have that is not listed on this slide, but that is slightly new to conversion tracking, and these are some adjustable attribution settings. So our default attribution setting is that we will count a conversion after associated to every campaign that someone has been exposed to. So that means that if you are targeting the same set of people in multiple campaigns and someone converts via one of those ads and they were exposed to ads in those other campaigns, you will see conversions attributed as view through for those other campaigns. Then we also have an attribution setting for last campaign, which means instead of attributing it to every campaign they were exposed to in those conversion windows, we will only count it against the most recent campaign they were exposed to in that conversion window. So those are really good to kind of, you need to think about how you want to count those conversions. What types of conversions matter to you? Do you want to see the full picture as to everything they were exposed to, or do you really just care about the thing that drove them to convert? Then we have actually 2 different ways that you can track conversions. Our standard way, the one that we recommend the most, is when you're driving to a thank you page that has its own URL, you're going to just use the insight tag that we talked about. That should be already on the page, it's already set to go, and what you will do is create a URL match rule. We have 3 options for that: exact, starts with, or contains. So you can use those to kind of manipulate the URLs that you want to track. So for example, if I want to track all of my thank you pages and all of them end with thank you, I can select contains thank you, and that will capture every single thank you page across any of my different campaigns. The other option is if you don't have a unique thank you page, or your URL just doesn't change from your landing page to that conversion point. From there, we recommend that you actually use an event-specific image pixel. So what you would do with these is it's a separate piece of code, so you would need to do an additional installation here. And we recommend putting it on the button that drives to that conversion. So if you are driving someone to a PDF page, they filled out the form, you would put on that submit button that this image pixel would fire. We would pick up that conversion and attribute it for you. Now, we do have another product that is slightly similar to conversion tracking called lead gen forms. And really, when should these be used? What are the differences? What are you driving towards? Conversion tracking is really going to be for people coming directly to your website, and you want to see how someone interacts when they are on your pages. What are they doing? Where are they going? What are those pieces that they're really engaging with? The only downside of this is that you do have to do that insight tag installation. So it can take a little bit of extra time to get it up and running, but it really gives you the full spectrum of being able to see people engaging on your site. Then we also have lead gen forms, which we touched on a little bit. And what lead gen forms allow you to do is that within your ad, right on LinkedIn, someone can fill out a form and get your piece of content. So if you have a white paper that you're looking to have them download, they can fill it out all with their pre-populated with their LinkedIn contact information. You get that information, they get the white paper. I actually really suggest that these are used in conjunction so that you can see not only who is clicking on your ads, who's engaging with them, but then once you point them to your site, where else are they going? What else are they doing? So your conversions don't necessarily have to be the point that you want them to get to for that specific ad. You can also track other places on your website that they're getting to, whether that's your business pages, your career pages even, that you can really narrow that down and see further with those lead gen forms and really use them in conjunction as well.
Hey, Jessica, that's a really awesome best practice, using those 2 things in conjunction. We do have a question from Sanjay here, who's asking, what are some of the best practices to get more leads from the clicks that you're driving? apparently they're getting around 1 lead for every 30 to 40 clicks, and he's asking, how can we do better?
Yeah, I would really turn this over to our CSMs here, but I can definitely give a little bit. I think it really depends on taking a look at the content that you're driving to, and additionally what your ads are saying and what your ads are asking for. So are they direct? Are you telling someone right in that ad what they're going to get out of filling out this form? Or is it a little bit abstract and they're not really sure and they're still clicking around? The other thing that I mentioned in the reporting overview is we now offer a view of clicks to link to landing page, but also clicks to LinkedIn page. So I also recommend taking a look and seeing if you're getting a really high volume of clicks to your company page, and see if it's simply that people don't know enough about your company yet, so they need to find out more, so you're really not getting them at the right point in the funnel as well.
And there's two things that I also recommend is taking a look at your demographic and the people that are actually engaging with the ad, and then looking at your messaging. Is the ad headline actually talking to them? Is the call to action relevant to what they're looking for? So those are the top two things I'd check as immediate next steps.
Yeah, that's a really great idea. Demographics is an awesome one to really allow you to see the who of who's engaging with your ads, because that can help you tailor your targeting even and make adjustments if who you think you're driving to is not actually who's making those, leads and things.
Awesome, thanks guys.
Yeah. Okay, so digging in a little bit on the conversion tracking data once you have all this set up and ready to go. So talked about this a little bit, but LinkedIn conversion tracking is not just going to show you total conversions, but we do additionally break it down into click conversions and view conversions. Click conversions will be for anyone that has clicked on an ad within that conversion window that you've set up. And view conversions will be anyone that has been just exposed to the ad but did not click on the ad within that window that you set up. We do deduplicate, so if someone viewed an ad and additionally clicked on an ad, they would just be counted under that click conversion. We also have a conversion rate to compare your total conversions against your impressions to really see if you are driving a high number of conversions, or, as we were just discussing, if it is a little bit low and you need to make some adjustments to your ads, your targeting, things like that. So what conversion tracking really allows you to do is optimize campaigns and see your entire funnel really in real time. So not only are you seeing your total conversions, but you're seeing what is that value being given to you, what money is coming back from the ad spend. So if you put a value in with your conversion, you'll see here we have highlighted at the bottom return on ad spend and also total conversion value to really get that full picture. And additionally, if you choose not to use conversion tracking, what are you missing out on? If you're not using conversion tracking, you're really only using what we refer to as leading metrics. So that's the first thing that people are seeing when they're engaging with your ad. That's just impressions, clicks, CTR, that first level of engagement and interaction, which is good. It can tell you a lot. It can give you a good place to go, but it's not really saying, are they truly interested in your ads? Did that click actually drive them to take the direction that you want them to? Which is where we get to our lagging metrics, which is, speaking of conversion tracking and looking at all of that. So your conversions are really allowing you to see that deeper dive, the more holistic view of exactly what is happening on your ads, so that you can use that data to make adjustments to them and really drive to the right people and increase all of your leads. All right, more questions coming in?
Yes, we have a whole host of questions coming in, so we'll spend a few minutes here going through some of these. So this question comes to us from Casey, and the question is, what is the best way to target business to business when we need company email? So I think they're asking a little bit about matched audiences perhaps, but do you guys have any suggestions on when you're trying to go after certain companies? Maybe it makes sense to actually use the company targeting as well. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, you can definitely use company targeting to really drill into specific companies. I think this question also might be a little bit towards our lead gen forms and the data that comes in there. So with our lead gen forms, we are pulling in a user's LinkedIn data, which means if you have the email there, a lot of us, the email that we're using for LinkedIn is our personal email address versus the company email address. So what we typically recommend is you can actually add an additional field into your lead gen form and request for company email specifically to kind of drive those users to bring that. But do you guys have any other suggestions of really getting that good company data?
Yeah, so one thing that I ask my clients also is to make sure while we're doing that custom question and you're saying work email address or company email address, just put in parentheses, no Gmails, no Yahoo emails, and that might help let them understand that, oh yeah, I need to put my work email address in there. It's still up to them to actually put the right email address in there, but that might help a little bit more.
I also have a suggestion. It's also about the content and if this is going to provide some value to the customer. So for example, the case studies that I talked through earlier, that would be a really good one because then it gives them more incentive to share information to get something of value back.
Yeah, really thinking about like the mind frame of the user that they're going to be in, and are they in that mind frame that's going to make them want to give you their company email address instead.
Exactly.
Thank you. All right, another question from DJ. He's all over this. What is the matched audience size minimum needed to launch an ad?
So it is the same as our general targeting minimum. It is less than 300, though I will say that generally you need to kind of reach at least into the thousands to start delivering. The thing with matched audiences is that rather than your normal targeting where you're just looking at facets of people, with matched audiences, we're trying to find specific people on LinkedIn. So if those people that are coming to your website maybe don't come to LinkedIn as often, then it could just be harder for that traction to start getting impressions. So we really recommend larger the better, but the official cutoff is less than 300. It is more than 300.
One way to get around that I use is actually using the, taking their domain from their email address and trying to find out or figure out what company they're coming from, and then target that company list, set of company lists from those emails as well, so that you're not only targeting them now, you're targeting their peers, and hopefully their job function and seniority, someone similar.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Nice. Another question from Lauren as well. Is there a place to see the complete list of 250 plus interests that we choose from when we use interest-based targeting?
There's not a total and complete list, but you can sort of scroll through the targeting there, which is unfortunately the way that it has to go. But I would say we have a really good search function in that targeting tool. So really just searching for what you're looking for, it will help you to see what is there, and then also additionally what is similar. As well, on the forecasting side, so on the right rail of the targeting tool where it tells you like your total audience, all of that, we now offer a breakdown. So it can show you the different percentages of people for their functions, job titles that are within who you're already targeting to kind of help you know if there's more to expand on as well.
One other thing too with the interest targeting is that I think they update it at least every quarter or every half. So it's continually adding additional themes and topics. So I don't think that if we were to put out a list, it wouldn't be the full list after 3 months or so. Yeah.
Awesome. This question comes to us from Anna, and she's asking, does LinkedIn have a detailed list of what actions are included in the other column of the engagement report?
We do not have an exhaustive list, but it is essentially all of the other pieces that you can interact with an ad. So if we're talking about just regular sponsor content, it would be liking, commenting, sharing, things of that nature, just clicking on the ad that's not going to your landing page, company page, those pieces.
Yeah, usually when you see a show more button, that would be included as one of the other clicks that is not necessarily pointed out on the campaign manager tool.
I'm almost positive that there's a help section article on that. So if you search in the help.linkedin.com or wherever that is, you would be able to find an article that talks about all the different types of clicks that are included in other, as well as describing all the clicks that are there in terms of engagement.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. All right, last question before we move on. is it possible to edit a lead gen form once it's created?
It is, but we're still working on the full changing of editing those lead gen forms. So there's different phases that we're going through in order for us to update and edit lead gen forms. Right now, there's only certain parts of the lead gen forms that can be changed when they're live. And then there's more that can be changed when it's just in draft mode. But we're working towards having the whole lead gen form being editable even when it's live.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Please keep the questions coming. We will definitely have more Q&A later on. But Sal, would you like to walk us through website and campaign demographics?
Thank you, Jess. Yeah, so as insight tag and conversion tracking is Jess's favorite, actually website and campaign demographics is mine. And this is a feature that is not available anywhere else. Some people use LinkedIn or Google Analytics, but in a certain way, we can do that, but filter in our filters in LinkedIn. So let me show you what I mean. With campaign demographics, this actually allows us to filter out who is engaging with your content. And you can do it in multiple different ways. So you have a campaign and you're targeting them, but who's actually engaging with your content? We can filter by company name, seniority, industry, geo, job function, and company size. And as you can see on the right-hand side, there's an example. We're using job function here, and we can see that this campaign is actually targeting what looks like marketing and media and communications because they have impressions and clicks more often in those job functions. And let me talk about how campaign demographics can be used. With this, you definitely have the ability to understand who's coming to your campaigns, and you can double down on specific audiences as well as exclude specific audiences. So I want to go back and show you what I'm talking about. In this example, you can actually see, of course, I just said marketing and media and communications are the ones that are being targeted within this campaign. But if you look on the right-hand side, it says conversions, and it shows that majority of conversions are actually coming from marketing. The second place that they're actually coming from is media and communications, but also business development. They have the same amount as media and communications. But if you look at the conversion rate on the right-hand side, you can actually see that business development has the highest conversion rate across all these different job functions. This would be a place where I would want to double down, where I create another campaign around business development, targeting just them, and seeing how well I can get additional impressions, clicks, and conversions. On the other hand, I also see that arts and design is an audience that is being targeted and seeing impressions, as well as sales. Sales is not doing too great in terms of that job function, and arts and design is definitely not what my client is interested in seeing. And so we want to make sure that we exclude those from campaigns moving forward. For website demographics, as I was saying about Google Analytics, most people love to see who's coming to their page. With website demographics, we have the ability to look at who's coming to their page, but within the filters that LinkedIn offers, such as job title, seniority, function, industry, and the like. We have an example here that shows we're actually targeting, or we have website audiences around product page and blog, and you can tell that more engineers and regional managers and web developers are actually going to those product pages. What that means is this is more technical audience, and whereas the blog is maybe more of a general audience. So I understand who's actually coming to these pages. So how do I use that information? There's different ways that I can, and in the middle, you're actually doing what I'm looking at. We can actually take that product page and make it more technical and speak directly to those engineers. Tailor that content so that they better understand and engage with that content. On the left-hand side, it says, test whether LinkedIn drives more high-quality leads. So with LinkedIn, you can create campaigns and you can set up a landing page specific to LinkedIn, but you can also do that with other ad channels. We can create a website segment around LinkedIn's landing pages and other ad channel landing pages. And then we can tell who's coming to each one of those pages and discover and understand who's actually going to those pages. Maybe the ad channel separately from LinkedIn is not doing as well in targeting your engineers. If we are doing great in seeing like great audiences coming from these website segments, we can actually retarget them, and that's what the third one is talking about. We can take these audiences and put them in a campaign, and so we can retarget that audience, more likely to engage and convert because they are already showing interest by coming to your page. So poll question, what do you need to add to your site to get LinkedIn website demographic data? A, the LinkedIn Insight tag, B, Google Analytics, or C, website retargeting?
We stump them.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, there it is.
There we go.
It's like it's not coming in.
Got some people coming in here.
100%.
Come on, folks. You know the answer to this.
Did everyone answer
Yeah,
at
I
the same
think
time?
everyone does.
All right, looks like we have a few more answers coming in. Please don't be shy on these polls. This also gives us a good pulse check on how we're doing as far as conveying this information to you and getting a better pulse on the knowledge that you guys all have of the product. So this is really helpful for us. Okay, well, it looks like the majority of you are correct. The LinkedIn Insight tag is what you need to put in there. So congratulations to everyone that answered A. Jumping back into the Q&A, we've got even more questions coming in. Another question from Sanjay. What is the best time to show the ads? Are you planning to provide some time-based targeting? I think referring to day parting here. Do you guys have any suggestions on that?
I totally understand. Sometimes we think that LinkedIn is only for a work time frame when people come. Actually, people come all the time. And so you want to make sure that you're there when people are in the morning or during the day or in the evening. And so we break it out by two different ways, either drinking coffee in the morning or having your break in the evening in front of TV. You have your phone more likely to engage. And so people are online all the time and are able to come to LinkedIn and can show your ads can show in front of them at those times as well. And so you want to be there when they come.
Awesome. How do you recommend testing video versus image ads? We have seen this successful on other channels, but see much higher CPMs between the formats on LinkedIn.
I'd say that might be true, but we also provide the value of being able to filter into the right audience that you can see and engage with. The right type of people might be a little bit more expensive, but you're engaging with the right people. And so if you look past those first metrics, those lagging metrics will actually show that we might actually have a higher or lower conversion or lower cost per lead or higher conversion rate in the end. And that's the thing that I would want to make sure that I'm looking at, not just those first metrics, but the later metrics that are the KPIs for your campaigns.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it too can be around the mindset that someone has when they're on LinkedIn versus those other ad channels. So really understanding, are you using the same video across all those other ad channels, but it's not really targeted to a professional mindset that someone would have when they're visiting on LinkedIn as well. So really taking a look at your content too and see if that could play a factor.
Another thing is also the length of the video. Usually if you want something quick and snackable for more of the top funnel, you'll want to do less than 30 seconds. For product demonstrations, usually a minute is good. 3 minutes to tell a full story for people that are already aware of what your brand is.
Awesome. This might be for you, Jessica. Will the campaign manager integration with Google CM will allow Google Campaign Manager to report on view-through conversions as well?
Yes, it will. So if you have conversion tracking set up in our campaign manager tool, we will pass that conversion data over. But if you do not have it set up, then we can't help you on that one. So you got to get our conversion tracking set up as well, in addition to the conversion tracking you can do in Google's campaign manager.
Awesome, thank you. Do you plan to download reports and extensions other than CSV?
Maybe. CSV is the most common, so that's why we tend to use it. But we do know that it is pretty limiting in what it can do. I know that we have big plans on being able to, download more charts, things of that nature. But those have not been fully fleshed out yet. But we have heard a lot of that feedback and are looking into it.
Awesome. This looks like a troubleshooting question.
Me again?
Might be you again, but who knows? Feel free to chime in, all you guys. Craig says that they ran a campaign with 5 posts for about 5 days. They didn't anticipate the review process. One of the posts or one of the pieces of content was made active that same day. 2 of them took a week. They're asking what's the normal time frame for this, and maybe is there any resources to help them when things are lagging behind?
Yeah, so they should be 24 to 48 hours that you're seeing those ads get reviewed. If you're seeing it over a week, then it typically is a bug or a problem on our end. You can reach out to our, via our help center, you can reach out and submit a ticket and make sure that that ad gets properly reviewed. We have also embedded an in-tool help, so there's a little icon at the top that you can click on and you're able to create a ticket right in Campaign Manager as well.
Are there any usual suspects as to why something is left in review for a while that you would know about?
Usually, if it's left in review for a while, it's just a bug. It's just generally just a problem with the system. But general reasons for ads not getting reviewed and getting rejected are if it clearly looks like a test ad. So that's how all my ads get rejected. But additionally, if your landing page doesn't have all of the right information, or the landing page that you've linked to, the content in your ad doesn't flow properly, things of that nature. And you will get an email telling you exactly what you need to fix if you do get any rejected ads.
Awesome, thank you. Another question coming in from Connor asking, is it suggested that we start campaigns with an automated bid strategy or use the manual bids until we get enough data for the system to optimize? So a little bid strategy question.
Yeah, I would definitely start off with, for example, enhanced CPC, so that way you're able to actually see if you're actually driving positive results, and also usually when you bid, you want to start off on the higher range so that you're outbidding other competitors. I don't recommend automated bid at first because I feel like it opens up the targeting and it isn't really optimizing towards the outcome of what you're trying to achieve with those goals.
It will optimize to specifically what your objective is, what you've selected. What can be really good if you are cost conscious around your CPCs, things like that. I generally recommend to actually start with auto bid, see where your average CPC ends up, and then you can adjust back to that manual bid if you want and have the enhanced CPC turned on so that we still have the ability to optimize your campaigns a little bit. So giving us the tools to adjust your bid, even if it's just with the enhanced version, allows us to really drive after the people that you are looking to capture versus just anyone that is up in auction that you can win that bid at.
Yeah, one thing I want to add to is the reason why I don't start off with auto bid.
It's kind of a personal choice,
It's like it depends on your audience size. So if it's super niche, definitely go for it. But if it's broad, I wouldn't start off with auto bid, only because you want to maintain that overall cost that you're driving to. So it's an art and a science.
Really is. We try to put, you've probably seen them, but there are suggested bid ranges as well. So we really recommend staying within those too to maximize your ability to reach people. So if you're going under that, you're really not going to be able to get to those users that are going to be the most likely to interact with your ads.
Thank you guys. This question comes to us from Monica, and she's asking, compared with Google ads, my LinkedIn ads are getting a lot more impressions, but a lower amount of clicks. How can I optimize my ads to get a higher CTR?
Look at the call to action. Is your headline talking to your target audience? And is it less than 160 characters? So you want to make sure that it's actually driving action. So an action-oriented call to action always works because it gives the audience direction on what to do.
I would also caveat that with that's more of a search campaign, it sounds like, than what LinkedIn is. And so take a look on the right-hand side of your campaigns. And in the Manage tool, it does give forecasts for that CTR. And that CTR range that it's showing would be the range that I would say, okay, I want to be at this or above it, because that would be the benchmark that you would want for that campaign and that specific target audience. Whereas with Google, you might have a higher CTR. That's not necessarily the benchmark. So not sure if you're looking at those benchmarks or if you're looking specifically at comparing Google versus LinkedIn ads, which is kind of apples to oranges at this point.
Yeah, the other thing you can do is actually dig into what Sal was talking about of your campaign demographics and take a look and see who is actually clicking on those ads and see if that's who you're targeting to specifically or if it's just an added bonus that they're clicking on your ads, and then you can adjust your targeting as well.
Does the bidding also affect that? Like if you chose CPM or CPC, would that influence that?
Yeah, so if you select CPM for really any of our various objectives, we're not really going to be optimizing too much on any of those. Whereas if you choose either enhanced CPC or auto bid, we're going to be able to go after the people that we think are most likely to engage with your ads. So really keeping your bids within the bid range, giving us the opportunity to help you optimize are the ones that will help really drive to people that will click and engage.
Awesome. And we'll go through one more question before we move on. Do you think brands can just dive right into conversion ads, or is building awareness key before getting there?
We kind of went through this earlier. Building awareness is key because you want people to, one, understand what your company is all about. What are you offering? Who are you? Things like that to get them familiar with your brand. And then moving on to consideration, if you're trying to drive products, this is something where you want to do a demonstration just to show what you're offering that professional and how it can help them become successful. And then that's when you should have that solid follow-up process with conversions and turn a prospective lead into a customer.
Yeah.
So it's a process.
Yeah, and I feel like it really depends on the brand too. So Microsoft is definitely not going to really need that brand awareness. Everyone's sort of heard of them. But if you are new to advertising on LinkedIn, you really want to get the word out, get your name out there. And yeah, you can also take a look sometimes if you have already started those kind of ads, using that clicks to your company page, clicks to your LinkedIn page. You can see is the overwhelming amount of people coming that are interacting with your ads, trying to just see who you are before actually getting to the landing page.
Yeah, humanizing your brand and what you're offering is always key because you wouldn't want to just meet a stranger and ask them to buy a product of yours. You want to get to know them first. So, yeah.
Good point.
I think there's a metric out there that says that essentially we want to, that most customers, it takes 9 pieces of content or 9 engagements in order for them to actually consider actually engaging with you. So they may see your ad, they may see your impression, they may click on it, but did they have to actually give your information? So it takes a little bit of time, and every audience is a little bit different. Main thing is to make sure that that content is relevant, that you're targeting the relevant types of people, and that you're putting something of value in front of them so that they can convert, or that they see that there's going to be something that they get out of clicking on your ad or converting on your page.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Please keep the questions coming in. We will be moving on to hopefully answer some of these questions with the optimization section. So, Sal, Maria.
Yeah. So if you guys have a favorite section, I guess this is mine. Cool. All right. So in this section, we'll be talking about optimizing your LinkedIn ad campaigns, and we'll help you understand your campaign performance and also how to optimize them for better results. So for optimizing with A/B tests is also known as split testing. This is a method where you can take a campaign or a creative and test different variations to ensure that you're driving towards what your goals are and meeting your ROI. So for testing different target segmentations, for example, if you want to test the same content against different audiences, so an example I'd give you is, let's say you want to test one piece of content to an engineering function or an engineering job title. What you'll want to do is set up two separate ad campaigns and then target the same content to that audience so that you can see whether or not the engineering function that you're targeting is actually finding your content interesting. Are they converting? Are they clicking on it versus the job titles? And then what you will also want to do is ensure that the LinkedIn audience expansion is turned off, so that way you can actually target the exact targeting parameters that you're using to reach those engineering professionals. If, however, you want to target similar targeting parameters, I would definitely enable that. The best time to use this function is if you're looking to reach more people. So if you have a super niche audience, definitely enable that. And then another tip we have is to make sure that your ad naming convention makes it clear what you're targeting. So for example, if you're pulling a report, you definitely want to know that you're pulling a report for the functions or job titles. And then next, if you want to test the same content against the same audience, what you'll want to do is set up an ad campaign and then add several ads within that campaign. So for example, if you are targeting an engineering function and you're interested in talking about a specific product, you would create several ad headlines to ensure that you're sort of tweaking it and optimizing towards the one that's driving the best results. And if you also want to A/B test, for example, using a video ad, a carousel ad, or a single image ad, what you'll want to do is set those up in different campaigns. And then next, we have a couple of ideas on how to A/B test. So for the first one, with targeting, you would want to definitely test job function or job title. Other ways that you can also test your audience would be looking at decision makers or maybe their buying committee. So testing someone with a higher seniority versus someone in a junior role. And then for creative, as we went through, testing your headlines is really great, but also calling out certain professionals and also switching up the call to action, just to ensure that you're using the right vocabulary and words to actually drive action. So now I'll kick it off to Sal to go over a couple of optimization scenarios.
Thank you. So these are the fun things. This is what happens day to day. And essentially, I'm going to go over a few different scenarios. This first one is actually pretty large. There's a few different slides, but your campaigns are having trouble scaling. So despite having relatively large audiences, 200,000 or more, it's not really doing what you're looking for it to do. So there's two different areas that I would start to look at, and essentially what I would look at is reviewing bids and reviewing content. Just at a high level, with reviewing bids, we see that starting your campaigns anywhere between 10 and 20% higher than the suggested bid range is a good place to start. You also are going to want to test out automated bidding, as well as pushing out the campaigns, considering different types of bidding as well, and that will help you like test different pieces of the bidding. With reviewing content, we actually have multiple different things that we can go over, but making sure that the content, the text itself is concise. Is there a value in this text? Are we actually showing them something relevant that they can engage in? And does it have a call to action? And essentially want to make sure that the relevance within the content is where we want to be. With relevancy score being a part of ads, we want to make sure that the content is relevant to the audience that you're showing it in front of. So I do want to go through a little bit deeper dive in terms of bids, and we talked about this a little bit earlier today in the questions, but there are multiple different ways to set up your bidding. And just to start off with how we're getting to these different ones, I'm actually using this as an example for a lead generation campaign. And within lead generation campaigns, there's different bidding strategies: enhanced CPC, max CPM, and automated bidding. Just to start off with the easiest one, automated bidding is a way for you to just set that in your campaign, and then it'll automatically choose and change dynamically based on who's actually getting in front of your ads. And the difference between enhanced CPC and max CPC is just that in that little box, there's a checkbox that allows you to enable lead optimization. And when you check that box, it becomes an enhanced CPC bidding. What that means is the system is now allowed to help you win those auctions by slightly upping the average CPC bid and win that auction a little bit more than if you were to have it at max CPC. And so if the platform sees that this is a person that's more likely going to submit a lead, then it's going to raise that CPC a little bit more so that you can win that auction. If you don't want that to happen, making sure that that box is unchecked, then it'll be a strict max CPC bid, and it won't go above that. Max CPM is just straight paid by impressions, and your auction, you're in the auction just bidding by CPM. So a couple tips around bidding. First of all, you want to make sure that if you are not scaling, if you're underpacing in terms of how much you are getting to receive clicks or spend within that campaign, you want to review your bid so that it is getting a high enough, a competitive enough bid so that you can win those auctions. And as I said before, 10 to 20%, usually I just add $1 to that max bid range. And let me show you where that is right here. If you look on the bottom of each one of those little screenshots, it says other similar advertisers are bidding between this range and that range. That means that I believe it's within the last 30 days, similar audiences are targeting, or that are targeting that similar audience, are bidding at that level. And so you want to be at or above that. And our recommendation is to be about $1 above that max bid. Another thing to remember is that you're not going to be paying that max bid all the time in the auction. We use what's called second price bidding, a second price auction. And that means that if the person that's just below you in the ad, in that auction, is at $6, but you're at $15, you would only pay one penny above that, so it would be $6.01 is what you would actually pay if your ad were to be clicked on. And this is a place where you can adjust your bids. And so over time, you can tell if your campaigns are doing well or not to make those adjustments. If you see that it's doing well and you want to scale your campaigns, maybe up the bid a little bit more so that you can be more competitive in more auctions and win more auctions. And if it's not doing so well, then bring that bid down, because that campaign overall is not doing what you're asking it to do, which is either get you a conversion or a lead. And so essentially, over time, you're optimizing that bid to get the right amount of average CPC, but also, more importantly, the KPI, if that's a lead gen, you're getting it at the lead cost per lead that you're looking for. Another part of understanding and scaling your campaigns is really looking at the content. So the content itself is very important. The first part place I would look is actually the images. And the images are very important because I believe that the image is a new headline, is what people say. Essentially, what you're looking at is that's the first thing that people see, and you can tell and understand what you're asking for if you have a good image. If you don't have a great image, then it's not necessarily going to be engaging. If you look on the left-hand side, it's pretty engaging in that it's a person's face, but it also looks kind of computerized. And this is their CMO.com's representation of artificial intelligence. And they are trying to get you to understand what are the mind-blowing stats of artificial intelligence. So that's an engaging image because people pick up and look at that, and that's very interesting. On the right-hand side, you see an image that's slightly different, but also just as engaging or more. It's providing value in a graph, and people are going to engage with that because they want to know more about what you're asking. In this case, it's around talent forecasting and what are the pain points and trends within that industry. So now that we talked about images, we want to talk about the actual ad itself overall, but definitely the text. One main part of the text is the clear call to action. This clear call to action is going to tell people what they are going to get if they actually engage with your content. We have two different ads in front of you right here, and then on the left-hand side, through Workday, you have an image that's not necessarily clear what it is. And on top of that, there's text, that there's just this large amount of text. Want to put the tip out there that we want to keep at least or within 100 to 150 characters within that text so that they can read it quickly and understand what you're asking for, whereas this blurb that I really don't see a call to action within it. On the right-hand side, you see an image that immediately calls out your attention because it has exactly the topic that they're asking you to look at. Raise your digital game with social strategies. Download the guide. You immediately know what it's about. You immediately know what they're asking you to do. Download the guide, and you may be more inclined to convert there because you already know what they're asking you to do. With the image on the left-hand side, you're not really sure what they're asking you to do. You may click on it, but if you get there, it's not necessarily what you're looking for. Another case on the bottom, it says call to action, register, outperform, join, and internal tests, and generate 165% more clicks. So essentially, when you use the word register, you're already telling them that they need to register for something. So you're kind of telling them automatically what they need to do in order to engage with that content. And the difference between register and join shows that they actually got a lot more clicks. So within the content itself, one thing that I would suggest is using questions, making statements or interesting facts. In both of these, they're using questions, worried about the future of financial advice, or did you know that Slack also has a power-up, ability to power up your marketing campaigns? By doing that, you're asking them to think about, is this information going to be helpful to me? And if I engage with it, then I'm more likely to get that answer. And so by using questions, that's going to help you build out a more engaging campaign. When we're A/B testing, here's a great example of what that would look like. Between the version A and version B, the only difference is, I know they look exactly the same, except there is a small headline on the bottom. And that headline is the difference between these two within A and B. So version A says, experts say machine learning will make analysts' job easier. Versus version B, it says artificial intelligence is the hyper machine in overdrive or in overtime. Not exactly sure what that means, but I do understand the left version more. And it's actually showing right here, version A had 17% higher CTR than version B. And another different A/B test, you're testing the image. So in version A, there's an image featuring devices versus version B, image featuring a person. The difference here is very telling when you look at the actual results. 160% prefer the version B, 160% higher click-through rate, and then 289% higher conversion rate than A. So obviously, using an image of a person is going to be better for you, and we've seen this more often than not across all campaigns on LinkedIn. Lastly, have fun. In each 3 of these examples, we actually see something that's slightly different from what we typically see on LinkedIn. Most people come to LinkedIn to be more successful and learn more about how they can be better in their career or job. But these are playing with that. And so, one has a car in it, one has a cartoon, others get the party right in. So, I mean, like, they're having fun, they're entertaining. And that would be something that I would definitely put into your ads. Make sure that there's more engagement when you're having fun. In scenario 2, so one thing that I've seen often is when you have a campaign, you're getting a high engagement, you're getting high CTRs, but you're not seeing the conversions that you're looking for in that ad. Here's some ideas that you can look at. And so with content engaging, that is engaging an audience, but not really converting, there's a couple places that you can look. First, if it is a website conversion campaign, review your landing page. Make sure that you understand if the page itself is loading, if it's the page itself is mobile optimized. I think we said before that there's about 70% of our traffic is coming from mobile. So you want to make sure that those ads or those landing pages are also mobile optimized. And is the form above the fold? You don't want to have your form buried all the way down at the bottom. Make sure that they understand what they need to do as soon as they click and get to that page. And then, do you have unnecessary fields? One example is phone numbers. If you need that phone number in there, I understand. But if you can remove that phone number, it's something that I would choose to remove and test in a separate campaign. We've seen that with phone numbers, it's not necessarily something that audiences or advertisers or clients would, the people that are coming to that, the audience coming to your page is willing to share. And then the last one is LinkedIn autofill. LinkedIn autofill actually allows you to take that information from their profile and automatically import it if they click on the autofill button. And then it fills out that form, and then they can convert more easily. If it is a campaign website conversions, you might want to test lead gen forms. With lead gen forms, you actually have the ability to not remove them from the website of LinkedIn or the app of LinkedIn. The lead gen form is within the feed of LinkedIn. And so they don't have to move or change anything. As soon as they click on your ad, the lead gen form pops up and they fill it out, or if there is anything to fill out. But typically it's already auto-filled. And that would help them to easily convert or submit that lead. The last piece is review your campaign demographics. Make sure that you're targeting the right people. Again, relevance is key. You want to make sure that those people that are coming to your page are actually the ones that you want to see, and the ones that are converting well, you want to optimize towards those audiences. One thing that I share with my clients is what's called the chain of relevance to capture higher conversion rates. So in each step and stage of this here, we have targeting, strong relevant ad copy, appropriate bid, and landing page. All of these are important for you to understand where the relevancy is and where the weakest link is. With my clients, I share with them, okay, where's the weakest link within each 4 of these areas? And if it is targeting, I share with them. So in targeting, target the same persona in 2 to 3 different ways. Job function, and if you have multiple campaigns, consider using job function, titles, skills, or groups in different campaigns. So you're targeting that same person, but you're trying to understand which one is best. And then for me, it's 200 to 500,000 is the right audience to scale. So as an example, that's a couple of ways that you can actually make your campaigns a little bit more effective. So in scenario 3, we're essentially looking at campaigns and leads, but they're not necessarily moving all the way down the funnel to sales qualified lead or closed opportunities. What can you do? One thing that you should be doing is once they do become a lead, you should nurture them. And that means maybe possibly creating a nurture campaign, either using the marketing automation integration or uploading those leads back into the platform so that you can use them to retarget through matched audiences. Another thing that you can be doing is taking those matched audiences and mixing those audiences and mixing ungated content so you can continue to keep them warm. That will help make sure that they're top of mind or you're top of mind in those leads that you have already. Make sure that they understand who you are and are more willing to engage with you more often in the future. And in scenario 4 is content is resonating with your audience and you are seeing high social engagement. So that's great, but what are the benefits to doing that? So there's definitely things that are helping your campaigns do well. Essentially, with content that is resonating, you're getting a higher relevancy score. Again, relevance is very important. That's going to help you overall get an average CPC that's a little bit cheaper than those that are not as relevant and you don't have to pay as much per click. You're also getting social interactions, and those interactions themselves, what we call viral impressions, and are free for you because since you're on a social platform, you continue to create a viral campaign around those ads that will be helpful in the future to start to pull and resonate around those audiences that are engaged. And then one last thing that you can do is start to create a follow button campaign using engagement objective. And what that will do is make sure that people are targeting, when you're targeting them, they can actually click on that follow button and start to follow your company. It's important to have that because your company page will automatically start to build that audience, and whatever you put on that page, they will see those impressions for free. So last piece here, let's put it all together in terms of our campaigns and make sure that we understand why we're here today. You ready?
Sal, Maria, I think you're going to take us through this piece.
Yeah, this will be a quick piece. So putting it all together, what we did was gather all of the things that we discussed today and put it in a cheat sheet so that you can refer back to it when looking at your campaigns. So here's 4 things to keep in mind when you're setting up your campaigns and also measuring the success on LinkedIn. You definitely want to map your goals to your metrics. So whether that's measuring your top of the funnel content and how people are engaging with it, to the conversions and the demographics of that towards the bottom of the funnel. This will definitely allow you to turn a lead into a prospective customer. So keep that in mind. And then 2, you also want to look at the leading metrics and the lagging metrics. So looking at the click-through rate all the way down to maybe the conversion reporting, just so that you can pair it up with any back-end metrics to ensure that you're meeting your ROI. And then ensure that you add the LinkedIn Insight tag and conversion tracking that Jess went through earlier. This helps you to measure the success of your campaign by looking at the actions of your customer on your website and tailoring any headlines or potentially an audience, whether you need to broaden it and capture a wider net or focus on more niche audiences to promote a product. And then for the 4th, A/B test everything. So Sal went through targeting, creatives, and ad formats. It's really good to continually A/B test until you find your sweet spot for your audience or images that you know is going to resonate with your target audience. So now I'll kick it off to Gaurav for the Q&A and the survey.
Awesome. Thank you guys. That was an awesome presentation. Definitely learned a lot over here. Hopefully you on the stream also learned a lot. We'd love to hear your feedback. The survey will be going live now for you. So please, all your feedback is very important to us. It helps us shape labs like this, helps us improve our product, and make it more usable for all you lovely folks out there as well. While you guys are filling out the survey, I'd like to remind you that this has been recorded. You will get the recording link along with the slides after. And while you guys are filling out the survey, we can jump into what's remaining of Q&A. So we'll jump right in there. This question is coming to us from Sandra, and she's asking, is it possible to send an ad preview, for example, via a link to another person who does not create that ad?
Not yet. What I usually do is just do a screenshot of that preview. So when you're in the campaign manage area and you're creating those ads, there's the ability to preview those ads either in desktop or mobile. And I screenshot those and I send them over either to the client or whoever's looking for it.
Yeah, you can also use, there's a view and feed option as well when you're previewing. So you can send them that link. There are some caveats around there that can get a little tricky with things like lead gen forms, but that is something we're working on. Actually, some of you may already see it. It's sort of ramping at the moment. But that you'll be able to still interact with those lead gen forms and sort of test them when you're using that show and feed preview link as well.
Awesome. This next question comes to us from Jen. When will companies be able to respond to comments on their ads as the brand?
That's a company page?
Yeah.
Okay. I believe
You should
they're
already
able
be able to do that.
Yeah.
It's a setting on your page, and I don't remember off the top of my head where I would need to look. But there's a setting that you can essentially almost log in if you're an admin as the brand, and then you can interact via your LinkedIn page and via the admin portion of the page. You can interact like you are the brand instead.
Awesome. So you just need to be one of the admins.
Yes, exactly.
Is there a recommended conversion window? I know they have the time frame you can set. Do you guys have any recommendations on that?
Yeah, our default, which is the recommended, is the 30 days for clicks, 7 days for views. But it really, my recommendation is always to sort of take a step back and think about how you want to count your conversions. So the longer it is, the more that you're really seeing how long did it take for someone to actually engage with that ad. Really seeing if you're showing ads to the same people via different campaigns, what impact did that make? If you're showing them ads through various other ad channels, not just LinkedIn, what impact did that make? So if you're going all over the place, I recommend a little bit longer, but the shorter allows you to see who's engaging immediately. So really thinking about how those metrics that you truly care about.
And it also depends on the cost of your product. We often find that the longer the sales cycle and also the more niche the audience is, it's best practice to keep the window a little bit longer. So you'll actually measure like how long is it taking, as Jess mentioned, does this potential customer take to convert?
Yeah, and for those really long sales cycles, we're actually looking into expanding that conversion window to be even longer than 30 days as well.
Awesome. This next question is, how does LinkedIn ensure the authenticity of its target audience, thereby eliminating erroneous clicks?
Because you are right on LinkedIn.com, we are already taking a look and making sure that our members are logged in. You have to come to LinkedIn, so we're really not getting any of that false sort of bad traffic, if you will. And we are constantly making sure that we don't have any of those fake profiles, things of that nature, really trimming that all down. The other thing, the thing that can just happen that aren't really fake clicks, but sort of accidental clicks, are just going to be the nature of the beast. So like Sal said, 70% of our traffic can be on mobile. And as I'm sure you've all interacted with an ad accidentally where you're just scrolling and your thumb hits something, that's just sort of the natural thing that can happen. So those will always be in there, but we really try to make sure that all of the people that are clicking are actual human beings, and that we're not getting any of that fake traffic.
Awesome, thank you. And some companies have showcase pages, right? So there's all mapping back up to that parent company. What are your guys' thoughts and recommendations on how a brand or a company should drive awareness or conversion campaigns for those pages?
Yeah, I can answer this. Ideally, you would want to run a showcase page when you're promoting a specific product, for example. So I work with a company that has several subsidiaries and different products that they're promoting against different audiences. A showcase page is a really great way to differentiate that and create its own mini hub of what the product is all about, including the customers that are interested in it.
I can give an example as Microsoft. So Microsoft has multiple different audiences that they're trying to target. But if we didn't have any showcase pages under Microsoft, then all the IT pro audiences would go there. All the Office, people would go there. And so by using showcase pages, you can automatically break out those audiences. And so if the people are following those different showcase pages, then you can automatically set those as targeting later on. So it's a great way to separate your audience automatically just by that theme of those showcase pages.
Awesome. This person's asking, if I create a landing page in a third-party software, can I include an inside tag as well to track conversions?
Not within third-party software. So it's really just only about websites. So if it's within an app, things like that, that's typically, you're not able to do that. If it's in a browser within an app, then that's a little bit different story. But basically, it's just anything with a web browser that you can put. Very similar to Google Analytics, even other ad platforms, and their tracking tags as well.
Awesome. So we'll go one more question here. This is coming to us from Paige. What types of ads campaigns do you find to be most successful when running talent campaigns? They primarily use LinkedIn campaigns to attract talent. So I know we do have recruitment media and things like that. Any thoughts from you guys on that?
Yeah, there's the ones, I believe they're called like picture yourself ads, but that everyone has probably seen on LinkedIn, where it literally takes your profile photo, and your personal profile photo, and puts it next to either a company logo, things like that, and drives you to their careers pages, which really gives you that direct engagement with the person that's looking at it. Really, it's a quick thing that like I said, I'm sure we've all noticed, because it's your own photo right in an ad, and really has that engagement of like, oh yeah, maybe I should take a look at that company and dive a little bit deeper. We do have a talent ads objective as well that has some of those specific, really key for talent ads in it.
Another place I would look at as well is just overall brand awareness for your company. And so start to create campaigns around brand awareness for the company and maybe the culture that your company has. Those are great ways to let people know what's possible, because when they come back to your company page, they're going to see your organic posts, they may see your ads, and you want to showcase that as well.
Yeah, and to build on Sal's point, I definitely would focus on posting more organic. So your organic efforts is huge, because you'll promote things about your company and about your employees. And then on top of that, you can amplify that by promoting it to everyone else that could potentially be a prospective employee at the company. And then we also have, I know we work in marketing solutions, but the talent solutions team has life pages, which talks about what the brand is all about. So yeah, that would be a good one too.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for your expertise today, and thank you all for tuning in. We have many more marketing labs coming up, and we will definitely be answering some of the questions that you had on the stream if we didn't get to it on the show today. But please register and attend our future marketing labs. Please share as much feedback as you can on that survey, and keep the questions coming. We'll do our best to answer all of them. So thank you all so much, and we hope you guys have a good rest of your day, evening, night, whatever time it is over there. Thank you guys.
Thanks, everyone.